You may believe that heat pumps are expensive to run, that they underperform in the winter, and that they never pay for themselves. So we did swap our gas boiler for a heat pump in December 2023, and the aim has always been to install the most efficient system possible. Now, after 2 winters, I can reveal the true performance of our system, show you the actual installation cost and running costs, and we can work out what our return on investment is. This is our little 68 square meters 1982 linked detached house. When we got it, it had uninsulated solid floors, cavity walls that weren't insulated either, and a loft that only had around 100 mil of all the insulation. So the very first thing I did was to calculate the heat loss of the property and estimate running costs. And the heat loss came to 5 kilowatts with estimated running costs of £1,073 for heating and hot water, and that would consume around 15,300 kilowatt hours of gas. So with this information, I set out to improve the fabric first. And we're gonna talk about the cost of that as well. Because I did a lot of work myself, what we're gonna do, we're gonna put my cost here and average home owner cost that has to hire it out to a professional. So loft insulation was quick and easy. It costed me around £400 and took a couple of hours to do. Let's say average homeowner has to hire it out and pays £600. The very second thing I did, and it was in the first winter, was to insulate 2 rooms upstairs internally with a 35 mil PIR insulated plasterboard. The reason behind that was our energy performance certificate said that we had insulated cavities, and I thought the property felt a little bit cold, so I decided to insulate it more. Later on, we find out when we were installing a heat pump that cavities in fact weren't insulated, which was great, because it allows us to put quality insulation into the walls as opposed to original insulation that, if it was there, probably wouldn't have been that great. So insulating those 2 walls upstairs with PIR, excluding my layer on materials alone and plastering and decorating, was probably around £1,500. That might not sound like a lot, but the rooms are small. Cavity wall insulation. So we did that with a company called Arrow Insulation, and that was surprisingly quick. It took them maybe 3-4 hours. They go around the house, drill the holes, blow EPS beads. And that item was £1,645. And for an average homeowner, the cost would have been identical. So my total cost for upgrades to the fabric is £3,545. And cost for an average homeowner for similar fabric upgrades to identical house as ours would be £5,245. So all those fabric upgrades, how did they affect heat loss and running costs? So the heat loss dropped by 40% from 5 kilowatts to 3 kilowatts. That means that on a gas setup, our existing gas setup, the consumption would drop by 27% from £1,073 to £782. Now, if you're confused about it, how is 40% lower heat loss only dropping the running cost by 27%? The reason is, the smaller the heat loss, the bigger proportion of the running costs is hot water. If you were to install a heat pump on this setup designed to a 35-degree flow temperature, the energy use and running costs drop by a staggering 43.88%, or let's say 44%. And the running costs would drop from £1,073 down to £602. And annual savings on a heat pump setup in this house would be £471. With the fabric upgrades done, it was time to install the heating system, and we'll do it exactly the same as with the fabric, where we'll split the cost for me, an average homeowner. First thing we did was to replace microbore pipework on the first floor. And we also upgraded radiators, 3 radiators upstairs, to double panel rats that can run at 35-degree flow when it's -2 outside. So my rats plus pipework upgrade did all the work myself, and it costed me £800 on materials. However, if you were to hire it out, you will be looking at least £2,000 for this part. On the ground floor, we went for underfloor heating, and we went for castellated panels to keep the pipework as tight as possible. We installed it at 100 centers. That gives you higher efficiency or lower flow temperature. And for a screeded system that has bigger thermal mass, again, higher efficiency. So underfloor heating installation, again, it's materials only for me at £792. However, hiring it out, probably £2,000 again. It's 33 square meters for your information of underfloor heating on the ground floor. Additional cost we had obviously was screed. Our 30mm gypsum screed we used, and that was around £1,000. And that's what the average homeowner would have to pay as well. So overall, this part of works, and I will include screed in this as well, costed us £2,592, and average homeowner would have to spend around £5,000. Now let's talk about the heat pump and the cylinder installation. So for me, the cost was zero, simply because the government grant of £7,500 paid for the heat pump, paid for the cylinder, and a little bit of help I needed from an electrician and some labor help as well. However, for the average homeowner, those costs these days, depending who you use, are between £3,000 and probably £6,000 for a comparable job. For full transparency, we should also look at the cost if the BUS grant was not available, so without the BUS grant. And I don't think it's as simple as adding £7,500 to those figures. So my cost would be 7.5. An average homeowner would be 3 to 6 plus 7.5, simply because having the grants makes the overall cost of the installation higher. It also creates a market where only people that have access to MCS can install. So the market of installer is smaller as it would have been if it wasn't so regulated. So let's say that without the BUS grant, the cost would go up by £6,000. So I would pay 6k for the whole reinstall, and average homeowner would pay between 9 and 12k for the full install. Now for the infamous return on investment. I'm saving £471 a year, and my installation cost was £5,137. So my return on investment is 11 years. For average homeowner, situation is a bit different because they still save £471 a year. However, they have to spend between £12,000 and £14,000. So we're looking at 25 to 30 years. However, it becomes clear that unless you do a lot of the work yourself and can access the grant, there's no real payback, because 25 years is lifespan or more than the lifespan of the setup. But that's only part of the picture, because the estimated costs and the actual running cost are a bit different. And if you combine this setup with other renewable technology, the whole picture changes. Again, let me show you. So my system is being monitored by Open Energy Monitoring, which is expected to be a very accurate system, so the numbers I'm going to give you can be trusted. So COP, coefficient of performance of my setup, is 4.83. In the first 500 days, we've used 2,300 kilowatt hours of electricity. That averages 4.6 kilowatt hour per day, or per year it uses 1,679 kilowatt hours of electricity. So what does that mean in financial terms? Heating and hot water in this house per year cost is £433 on a standard tariff where you pay 27 pence per kilowatt hour. How does this compare to calculations? So the calculations assumed we would be 44% cheaper than the gas system, but in fact we are 57% cheaper to run to house that was running on gas with no fabric upgrades. So right now for us it is 8.5 years to pay for this system. However, for average homeowner, this still is around 18 to 20 years, which we can all agree the system pays for itself over the lifespan of the system. So maybe no real savings here. However, the story doesn't end there, because a couple of months ago, we installed 6.4 kilowatts peak kilowatt of solar PV and also 10 kilowatt hours of battery storage. Again, let's talk about cost of that. So PV 6.4 kilowatt peak and battery storage of 10 kilowatt hours. Total cost to us, supply and fit, was £10,000. Now, mate rates, friendly electricians. I think the average cost for average homeowner is probably around 12 to 15k for a comparable setup. Now, our property uses 1700 kilowatt hours for heating and hot water and 2300 kilowatt hours for our other needs. So it's 4000 kilowatt hours of energy, of total use of energy for this property. The solar PV is meant to generate between 6 and 7,000 kilowatt hours per year, leaving us with at least 2,000 kilowatt hours that we sell at 15p back to the grid, making us £300 a year, and also covering all energy needs of the property. The bottom line is the house has zero bills, allows us to drive for free up to 10,000 miles a year, and pays us to live in it. My total cost so far for fabric upgrades, new heating system, heat pump and the cylinder, solar PV and battery storage is £15,137. That's everything I spent. Average homeowner probably would spend double, or only spend £30,000. Now, the savings are £1,000 on heating and hot water bills, £1,500 on driving, as compared to a diesel car, we're saving that much on fuel a year on 10,000 miles. So that's driving. We also export back to the grid. It's only £300 a year, but you add this up as well, because that's already, those numbers, they save £2,700 a year. And I hear you say, yeah, but what about the cost of electric vehicles? They're way more expensive than diesel or petrol. In fact, they aren't. In our case, we bought 2 second-hand cars, and when we were looking, because we actually didn't set out to look for an electric car, we're looking for an automatic car for my wife because she's learning to drive. Everything in the same mileage condition and comparable cars in diesel and petrol were twice the price. And when I got my car as well, you probably wouldn't get a comparable diesel with that mileage and that condition. So if we divide my total spend of £15,000 by what I save 2.7, we got a return on that investment of 5.5 years. And this is where this whole renewable technology comes together. If you've got a fully electric house, if you generate your own power, if you store power and buy that cheaper tariff at night, and you drive electric cars, this then makes much more sense, and the payback time becomes much quicker. For us, because I did all of the work myself, only 5.5 years. An average homeowner, 11 years. That does sound much better, you have to agree. So for us, this has been a total no-brainer. I hope it's clear to you now. However, I do appreciate that not everyone can do the work themselves or has contacts in the industry. I also hope that you start to understand that renewables can make a sound financial sense, especially if you go for a fully electrified ecosystem, including solar, battery, and EVs. Now, over to you. If you could have a system installed that cuts your bills in half and has a reasonable payback time, would you do it? And maybe you have your own ideas on how to push those setups even further and improve my own setup. I'm all ears, leave a comment below. And if you're interested in seeing how I installed all this setup, I'll leave a link to a video for you right here.